white people today. But they will laugh at white people because white people will say, well, I have a black friend. and you know, people of color particularly find that very, you know, humorous because they have tons of black friends, right? But I find it interesting because I congratulate those people for having one black friend, which means, because that means to me, if you have one, you can get two. That's a lot easier to push to that second one than it is to sell the first one, right? So, but we have to be conscious about how we think about the kinds of lives that we want to live. And so there are people who are conscious about the kinds of friends they have about them. So they know that they have one African friend, and right now I'm mad because I don't have a Hmong friend in my network of friends. I want to get a Hmong friend. So I have to figure out how to make that happen. But it's a conscious decision, and it'll stay conscious until it becomes what? A habit. Because a routine is something that we're thinking about. It's something that we've scheduled. It's something that we've planned out. Until we no longer have to do that because it becomes a habit for us. All right? Does that make sense? I know I'm going out there, but I'm glad you're stretching with me. Nobody's packed up and left yet. So we talked a little bit about an attitude. And what is an attitude? It is ultimately your goal that determines your attitude, right? And so if you have a blind spot and you have some negative pieces in that blind spot, that means that you need to adjust your goal. You need to adjust your goal. I had another slide that dealt with this a little bit. I just want to talk about this concept of belief. And what is a belief? Okay, a set of ideas that we think are right.
Don't they become your values?
Could be what?
Don't they become your values?
Do they become your values? Possibly.
Self-truth.
Self-truth. All right, here we go. Thought, belief. Thought, belief. What is a belief? It is a group of thoughts, right? So there are religious traditions that are founded on thoughts. In Islam, there are the 5 what? Pillars of Islam. The 5 thoughts to make the foundation of that belief. For Christians, it's called the what? There's 10 of them. The 10 Commandments. I saw the Moses movie, you know. Let my people go. Right? So beliefs are a series of thoughts that we have compiled together. Now, the interesting thing about a belief or a belief system is that will one belief create a belief system? No, it won't. One belief won't. But we have to consistently believe and believe and believe and believe and believe, and test it, believe. For example, I believe that everyone should have a right to food. That is a belief I have. I'm tested with that all the time. I see homeless people or people in food shelves that don't have food, so I'm tested with that. So now that I have that belief, what must I do? I have to act on that belief so that I can keep those thoughts moving. All right? And then we also have to change our expectations if we want to change what's written in our subconscious, which means that I expect that my neighbors in my community will treat me a certain way, even if they what? Don't. Even if they don't, I still expect them to be, I'm actually surprised when they're not acting the way I expect them to. Right? And so we have to change our expectations. All right? So does all of this stuff make sense? Okay. Because what I'm asking you to do in this handout that I just had you do is start to make some of those conscious, routine decisions. And so as we move forward through the little bit of time that we have left, we will work through this whole process so that you leave with a plan on how you change your life towards your goals. All right? So I want to hear, and if you feel comfortable, I'd like for anyone to share what ways are you effective in diversity efforts. I believe that I'm effective with diversity issues in the following ways. Just give me one.
Trying to be aware of what is offensive.
Okay, so trying to be aware of what's offensive.
Taking a genuine interest in other people's cultures or...
Okay, take a genuine interest in other people's cultures.
Trust people until they give you reason not to.
Trust people until they give you reason not to. And I would even take it further and say trust people even when it doesn't make sense to trust them. Right?
Yep.
Now, trust and verify. Now, I'm not saying be a fool, but you can trust and verify. Right? Other things. What did some other folks say? Yes, ma'am. Okay, so you try to demonstrate and accentuate the positive. Okay.
We've hired a very diverse.
Okay, so hiring a diverse staff is a way that you show some competence in these areas. Okay. Cool. All right, so let's go to the next set of questions. I want you to fill those 4 things out too. These skills are measurable in the following ways. And so in your case, hiring a diverse staff might be an answer to that. But I want you to answer those next 4 questions as well. All right, you can stop right there. We'll come back and have some conversations about that. I want to talk about this concept now. So we're talking about how do I expose stuff in my blind spot? How do I find out about the biases that I have? First, put on your oxygen mask and then help somebody else, right? So how do I start to either help somebody else or find out about my stuff? What is the purpose of a gift? What is a gift? What's that?
To make somebody happy.
Okay, to make someone happy. All right, what else?
Appreciation.
It's appreciation. Okay.
To fulfill a need.
To fulfill a need. All right. Gift.
Make them feel guilty.
Make them feel guilty. All right.
Love.
To show love. Okay. Has anyone ever heard someone say, it's the thought that counts? Right? You give a gift and they say, well, it's the thought that counts. what thought are they talking about? Right? Yeah.
And what they, well, on how they do that gift.
Okay, so the thought on how they view that gift?
Yes.
Okay.
Like if a woman does not want a vacuum cleaner as an anniversary gift, you know, they probably want jewelry or something. So that's what I mean, like how.
Like power tools would be a bad idea.
Well, probably if I don't want a power tool,
Okay.
well, we're gonna look at if you want me to clean some more.
Some more? No, that's a whole other conversation. A whole different train. No, but I get your point, right? And it's funny because I've heard that people say, you know, it's the thought that counts. Have you ever received a gift like this? Here.
Every birthday I get
Right? What happens when someone gives a